stands for the Crown.
It's contract. So
they've abused the Crown, right?
But hang on, you then go when you're put into a situation where you sent any correspondence, which is always the first step. They'll send correspondence saying, well, you know, I've got a problem with what you're doing on your land, whatever that may be. So how do we respond?
Presumption.
Established jurisdictions.
That's right. Who the hell are you?
And if they ignore that and keep coming at you regardless, what then?
Then you notice them. You serve a notice on them. That's a formal attack. And a notice, even under their law, has weight.
Can I use that against the carriers of 5G? Say to them, or the Optus, or that, for presumption?
Well, essentially, you go back to the Constitution. And it's under Section 51. I think it's subsection 9, where the Parliament has the authority to draft legislation relating to telecommunications, telegraphic and other like services. So, you know, we've got to think this was drafted back in 1890s or actually around 1874 through to 1900, so we didn't have... But they foresaw these things, and this is why they put in other like services. So then we put the onus back on the government to say, well, show us that this is good government and that you have the authority to impose this legislation or allow this sort of input to our society without checks and balances. So where are the tests that have been done with respect to the 5G or whatever it is they're trying to impose? Show us that this has gone through the proper clinical trials. You know, we want a forensic examination done of your tests. And of course we know, and there's been admissions coming from those who are held responsible for this sort of input of technology, that they have not done these trials. So it's very simple. We've got to look for the simple answer. And we just go back and we say, well, show us you've done the test, because the words good government, good government doesn't allow these whatever services imposed upon us that could be detrimental to our health. And we fall back on what's known as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And Article 7 says that they require your consent to take part in any form of medical experiment. Because if they're conducting the trial through the implementation of these services, we'll just sit back and wait and see how many people suffer. Well, where is my consent?
But they do get people's consent. They do. As soon as you accept that phone and you go, oh, I agree, they're doing it blatantly.
Yeah, that's to the contract.
Yeah.
But not to the implementation of the services that... And this is where the Constitution...
On respect to the health stuff, and that is, I've noticed that they're starting to put little warnings out
in the
there.
paper.
Yeah.
Don't hold it up to your ear. And so
They have since the very first mobile phone.
Have they?
You know, when I had my first mobile phone, the thing was called a brick. You know, huge. And it had a warning sticker on it that says, do not have the aerial anywhere any closer than 1 metre from your body while operating this phone. You know, it had a cord, so I had a long enough cord to do it. So, you know, the warning's always been there. So, but because we've allowed this to go on and having questioned those in the system, and especially Telstra, because they were government owned at that time, we should have gone, well, okay, well, guys, why are you allowing this? How is this good government? Where did you get the authority to implement this?
What was the International Covenant?
On civil and political rights.
Okay.
Now that comes in under the Human Rights Commission Act, 1986. It's Commonwealth law.
You use the term good government. Shouldn't it be good government?
Governance.
Government, section 51 is government, the word government. But everything that the government implements through legislation is subject to this Constitution. Those words prevail right through the Constitution.
So how do you put a court on notice, or say a judge, or what's the instrument for actually doing that?
Well, you want to establish jurisdiction. So if you're standing there orally in front of the court, then you would put it to the court. Is this court under a presumption that it's operating as a Chapter 3 court?
Let's say I want to put them on notice with respect to a specific, because we've covered quite a bit of ground, 5G and Israel and
The whole box.
the New World Order. Let's say we're in a specific jurisdiction, and there's quite a few of them, and you want to, in that particular jurisdiction, does this cover all jurisdictions? Where I say it might be called an oral application, it's like an oral application, or
Yeah, well, when I submitted my paperwork in 2007 to the county court relating to the case against the Commonwealth, the first paragraph laid out the jurisdiction.
Right.
Okay, so I was seeking that the court stand in Chapter 3 as a prosecutor. So I was the prosecutor, I was the plaintiff.
Yeah.
And I established, with consent of the Commonwealth, which is what you need. You can't force a jury trial. So I was seeking that the court stand with a jury trial. But of course the Commonwealth, if they had rejected that, then we'd be compelled to negotiate and go back to accepting either a single judge or justices to fulfil the requirement of the court. But there is a hidden court that's sitting there that none of us, a lot of people haven't woken up to, and that's our Justice of the Peace. They are and were the original court. They were established back in the early or the mid to late 1200s, just after Magna Carta.
I've got a query on the JPs, right?
Yeah.
I've asked the JPs, a few of them, where did you get your authority from?
Right.
And then I said to them, are you a member of the Royal Victorian Association of Honorary Justices, which is a registered business in Elstonwick?
Yeah.
Now, if it's a registered business, isn't there not a conflict of interest by even you going to a JP who's a member of that?
Well, not so much matters what club they're a member of, as to what oath they've taken. That's the basis of...
Because the oath would suggest...
Because the oath is the law that brings that entity within, it puts the blinkers on them, and they are then bound under the legislation that's been established right back to 1279 as to what they can or cannot do. And they then seek direction from their clerk and from the plaintiff and from the defendant.
I actually phoned their office, but they never answered the phone, right? Just from my mobile, from the outside landline. But when I was into the Supreme Court, I said, "Oh, would you mind ringing this?" And they actually picked up the phone and started talking to me then, So it's just another...
And the oath they have taken, is that publicly available?
Yes, yeah, you can download that oath.
So...
Now, if that oath, as we've found since the 45th Parliament that I was involved with, they've now, because in the Constitution there's a schedule, and in that schedule is the prescribed oath that all parliamentarians have to take.
Is that the
Now,
one
the
there?
45th Parliament, yeah, there we go. To Queen Victoria, now they're allowed to change that relating to the current monarch, and they changed it to Queen Elizabeth II, and that's okay. Her heirs and successors according to law. So what's that reflect? Clause 2.
So where do you put that out?
Doesn't
Is
it?
that the Constitution?
In the Constitution.
This is in the Constitution. So what they've done in the latest Parliament is they've replaced Queen Victoria with Queen of Australia.
Doesn't exist.
Wow.